work way down. Hello, everybody. How is it going? I hope we're having a good day. Bored? Yes, you can be in here. Get real, being cozy. Hello, Devon. I'm still raping. I have to turn my mic up. I will get closer, but I won't turn it up. It is quite high already. I didn't move it closer yet because she demands to join me at the start of stream. And yet again, my ads are fucked. I'm getting really upset with the way they do this. I already ran an ad. Why is it doing this? Am I getting comfy with the settings? Oh, yes, I need to adjust that. As long as you remind me again. Okay. Yeah, now it just sounds like me. It says the ad will start in 23, 22, 21 seconds, but we know that it'll have a little while before it actually starts, so just know that there's going to be an ad at some point. In the meantime, happy little kitty. She may move, but I can't tell. Oh no, she's just settling in. Okay. Happy. Yes, so happy she wasn't even scared of the ear this time. Oh, okay, the tail did not need to do that, but okay, that's my fault for touching your butt. You're back with drink? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Darkstorm. What does it mean? I will hydrate though in a second. Oh, are you leaving? What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, I think she's moving. She's finding her own seat. There you go. Okay. It does make it a lot easier to hydrate and do the stream. Okay. Alright. The ad is running. I gave a warning. It's just, you're never sure when the ads will actually start. They do what they want. Ma'am? This mic is so good you can hear from like a foot on a bit away. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, this is just the cat that's at the apothecary. And yes, I have my rat back. Rat. I still had not figured out the chat. I fully gave up at a point. So you just don't have chat on screen. Oops. I don't know if I'll put up these VODs. I feel like I've got to, but they're not going to do well. Because it's so different. It's so different. Oh, but well. Yay! Your rats! Yeah, they're fun. But with that, the ad is over. What's that? Oh no. Okay. Oh my gosh. There you go. I've got too much going on. It's fine. You're fine. Thanks. We are going to get into our first story. So we're still in the Indian fairy book. We're at the next story. It is called The Red Swan. It's looking a little bit longer. Oh, sorry. It's looking a little bit longer than some of the other ones we've read recently from this book. But we'll see how this goes. If we're reading for a very long time, I will break and we will do redeems in the middle. But anyway, we rolled a 20! Nice, Darkstorm. Good job. Oh goodness. Sick yawned. E.B. Raven, I did not get any caffeine. I realized my mistake. What have I done? Oh, 11. Oh, I'm glad it was cute. Because I'm just trying to get oxygen. But, okay. Yes, let's go ahead and start the Red Swan. Where is my little thingy? There it is. Well, I'm glad you're getting comfy. She's curling up on a little spot. She's not quite there. She's being very picky. It's cute. Oh, Fat! Holy shit, Fat! Are you kidding me? That roll of 11, it was just a precursor, just out of 0, and that's how much riz you got. Oh my gosh! The maximum riz! Damn! And Darkstorm just ate. Ooh. You got the nat 20. That's what you got. You guys got the max numbers, just opposites. Okay. I'm going to start reading. Here we go. Oh, wait. What have I done? I just see this now. There we go. Who's gonna bug me? Alright. The Red Swan. 3 brothers were left destitute by the death of their parents at an early age. Sorry, the eldest was not yet able to provide fully for their support, but he did all that he could in hunting, and with this aid and the stock of provisions already laid by in the lodge, they managed to keep along. Me and Kitty being very particular about how we'll sit. Just the both of us. Okay. They managed to keep along. They had no neighbors to lend them a helping hand, for the father had withdrawn many years before from the body of the tribe and had lived ever since in a solitary place. Ooh. The lads had no idea that there was a human being near them. They did not even know who their parents had been, for at the time of their death, the eldest was too young to remember it. Well, dang. And they don't even know, like, when that's how you're raised, you really don't remember anything. You just basically figure everything out on your own. Talking while you're yawning, it doesn't sound. You figure everything out on your own. That's a lot. And weirdly, this is something that's happened a couple times in this fairy book. They do it a couple of times. Okay. Forlorn as they were, they however kept a good heart, and making use of every chance, in course of time they all acquired a knowledge of hunting and the pursuit of game. The eldest became expert in the craft of the forest, and he was very successful in procuring food. He was noted for his skill in killing buffalo, elk, and moose, and he instructed his brothers so that each should become a master over a particular animal which he was assigned to them. After they had become able to hunt and to take care of themselves, the elder proposed to leave them and go in search of the world, promising to return as soon as he could procure them wives. How did he know about wives? Okay. What did I do, Darkstorm? What did I do? Please tell me what I did. I don't know. My goodness. Okay. Where was I? I have no idea where I was. gonna find wives. There. Promising to return as soon as he could procure them wives. In this intention he was overruled by his brothers, who said that they could not part with him. They said, too bad, you cannot leave. Jacuus, the second, was loud in disapproval of the scheme, saying, oh, I need to cough my voice. Oh my goodness. Disapproval of the scheme, saying, what will you do with those you propose to get? We have lived so long by ourselves, we can still do without them. This counsel prevailed, and for a time the three brothers continued together. The yawn got you from another place. See, when you say it, when it's so open and vague and it's got a little giggly, I don't know what I've done, and I get a little bit like, what did I do? What did I do? Oh no. So, I need the full info, please. Please. Oh yes, they decided, don't go anywhere. You mentioned yawn, you got me thinking it. I blame you. We're just playing it back and forth. Okay. This counsel prevailed. They stayed together. One day they agreed to kill each a male of that kind of animal which each was most expert in hunting, for the purpose of making quivers from their skins. When these quivers were prepared, they were straightway filled with arrows, for they all had a presentiment that something was about to happen which called upon them to be ready. Oh, okay, so they're all just like, something's about to happen. I don't know. I'm not winking, I'm squinting. There you go. What's gonna happen? He doesn't know how to read when I'm all squinty face. Soon after they hunted on a wager to see who should come in first with game, and have the privilege of acting as entertainer to the others. They were to shoot no other beast or bird than such as each was in the habit of killing. They set out on different paths. Maidwa, the youngest, had not gone far before he saw a bear, an animal he was not to kill by the agreement. He, however, followed him very closely, and driving an arrow through and through him, he brought him to the ground. Although contrary to the engagement with his brothers, Maidwa commenced skinning him, when suddenly something red tinged the air all around him. He rubbed his eyes, thinking he was perhaps deceived, but rub as hard as he would, the red hue still crimsoned the air and tinged every object that he looked on, the tree-tops, the river that flowed, and the deer that glided away along the edge of the forest with its delicate splendor. Oh no, what happened? As he stood musing on this fairy spectacle, a strange noise came to his ear from a distance. At first it seemed like a human voice. After following the sound, he reached the shore of a lake. Floating at a distance upon its waters sat a most beautiful red swan, whose plumage glittered in the sun, and when it lifted up its neck, it uttered the peculiar tone he had heard. He was within longbow shot, and drawing the arrow to his ear, he took a careful aim and discharged the staff. It took no effect. The beautiful bird sat proudly on the water, still pouring forth its peculiar chant, and still spreading the radiance of its plumage far and wide, and lighting up the whole world beneath the eye of Maidwa with its ruby splendors. Does that mean everybody else saw red, or just him? What's going on? Is this an image? A mirage one? Well, hold on. Okay. He shot again and again, till his quiver was empty, for he longed to possess so glorious a creature. Still the swan did not spread its wings to fly, but circling round and round, stretched its long neck and dipped its bill into the water, as if indifferent to mortal shafts. Maidwa ran home, and bringing all the arrows in the lodge, shot them away. He then stood with his bow dropped at his side, lost in wonder, gazing at the beautiful bird. Wait, the bird followed him? Because he ran home. While standing thus, with a heart beating more and more eagerly every moment for the possession of this fair swan, Maidwa remembered the saying of his elder brother, that in their deceased father's medicine sack were 3 magic arrows. Well, how did we know it's Dad's medicine bag if we never really met parents? Just saying. Plot hole. Okay. 3 magic arrows, but his brother had not told Maidwa that their father, on his deathbed, which he alone had attended. Okay, so he did remember Dad. Eldest did remember Dad. He alone had attended, had especially bequeathed the arrows to his youngest son, Maidwa, from whom they had been wrongfully kept. The thought of the magic arrows put heart in Maidwa, and he hastened with all speed to secure them. Okay, it's like something weird's going on. Now we know about magic arrows. It's time for me to freaking find those. We need those right now. At any other time he would have shrunk from opening his father's medicine sack, but something prompted him to believe that there was no wrong now, and snatching them forth he ran back, not staying to restore the other contents to the sack, but leaving them scattered here and there about the lodge. He feared as he returned that the swan must by this time have taken wing, but as he emerged from the wood, to his great delight, the air was as rosy as ever. So, was the air not red at home? How far away did the red disappear, Okay. No, I see the hydrate. Let's do a hydrate. Thank you, thank you. The air was rosy as ever, and there, in her own serene and beautiful way, still sat the glorious Red Swan. With trembling hand he shot the first of his magic shafts. It grazed a wing. The second came closer and cut away a few of the bright red feathers, which fluttered and fell like flakes of fire in the water. The third, which he carefully aimed and drew home upon the string with all his force, made the lucky hit and passed through the neck of the bird, a little above the breast. "The bird is mine," said Maidwa to himself. "The bird is mine," said Maidwa to himself, but, to his great surprise, instead of seeing it drop its neck and drift to the shore, the red swan flapped its wings, rose slowly, and flew off with a majestic motion towards the falling sun. "Oh, hello, the hog." Maidwa, that he might meet his brothers, rescued 2 of the magic arrows from the water, and although the third was borne off, he had a hope yet to recover that too, and to be master of the swan. He was noted for his speed, for he would shoot an arrow and then run so fast that the arrow always fell behind him. That's insane. And he now set off at his best speed of foot. "I can run fast," he thought, "and I can get up with the swan some time or other." He sped on over hills and prairies toward the west, and was only going to take one more run and then seek a place to sleep for the night, when suddenly he heard noises at a distance, like the murmur of waters against the shore. As he went on he heard voices, and presently he saw people, some of whom were busy felling trees, and the strokes of their labor echoed through the woods. He passed on, and when he emerged from the forest, the sun was just falling below the edge of the sky. He was bent on success in pursuit of the swan, whose red track he marked well far westward, till she was lost to sight. How do we know that's not like a sunset? It's just the sun. But okay. She was flying toward it, I guess. Meanwhile, he would tarry for the night and procure something to eat, as he had fasted since he had left home. Yes, good idea. Oh, 1 second, please. Sorry, big cough. Where were we? He had been fasting since he left home. At a distance, on a rising ground, he could see the lodges of a large village. He went toward it and soon heard the watchman, who was set on a height to overlook the place, and give notice of the approach of friends or foes, crying out, "We are visited," and a loud halloo indicated that they had all heard it. When Maidwa advanced, the watchman pointed to the lodge of the chief. "It is there you must go in," he said, and left him. "Okay." Come in," said the chief. "Take a seat there," pointing to the side of the lodge where his daughter sat. "It is there you must sit." They gave him something to eat, and being a stranger, very few questions were put to him. It was only when he spoke that others answered him. "Daughter," said the chief, as soon as the night had set in, "take our son-in-law's moccasins and see if they be torn." Wait, who says he's son-in-law? Okay, see if they be torn. If so, mend them for him and bring in his bundle. Maidwa thought it strange that he should be so warmly received and married instantly against his own wishes, although he could not help noticing that the chief's daughter was pretty. Like, well, what the heck? But, okay. All right. It was some time before she would take the moccasins which he had laid off. It displeased him to see her loath to do so, and when at last she did reach them, he snatched them from her hand and hung them up himself. He lay down and thought of the swan, and made up his mind to be off with the dawn. He wakened early, and finding the chief's daughter looking forth at the door, he spoke to her, but she gave no answer. He touched her lightly. "What do you want?" she said, and turned her face away from him. "Tell me," said Maidwa, "what time the swan passed. I am following it. Come out and point the way." "Do you think you can overtake it?" she said. "Yes," he answered. "Naubisa, fool!" retorted the chief's pretty daughter. She, however, went out and pointed in the direction he should go. The young man paced slowly along till the sun arose, when he commenced traveling at his accustomed speed. He passed the day in running, and although he could not see anywhere on the horizon the Red Swan, he thought that he discerned a faint red light far over in the west. When night came, he was pleased to find himself near another village, and when at a distance he heard the watchman crying out, "We are visited!" And soon the men of the village stood out to see the stranger. Is he going to get a wife in every place? Because this is a problem. He was again told to enter the lodge of the chief, and his reception was in every aspect the same as the previous night, except that the young woman was more beautiful, and that she entertained him very kindly. Although urged to stay with them, the mind of Maidwa was fixed on the object of his journey. Before daybreak he asked the young woman at what time the Red Swan passed, and to point out the way. She marked against the sky with her finger the course it had taken, and told him that it passed yesterday when the sun was between midday and its falling place. Maidwa again set out rather slowly, but when the sun had risen, he tried his speed by shooting an arrow ahead and running after it, but it fell behind him, and he knew that he had lost nothing of his quickness of foot. Nothing remarkable happened through the day, and he went on leisurely. Some time after dark, he was peering around the country for shelter, and he saw a light emitted from a small low lodge. He went up to it very slyly, and peeping through the door, he discovered an old man alone, with his head down upon his breast, warming his back before the fire. Maidwa thought that the old man did not know that he was standing near the door, but in this he was mistaken, for without turning his eyes to look at him, the old man said, "Walk in, my grandchild, take a seat opposite to me, and take on your things and dry them. For you must be fatigued, and I will prepare you something to eat. You shall have something very delicate." Maidwa accepted this kind invitation and entered the lodge. The old man then remarked, as if in mere course of conversation, "My kettle with water stands near the fire," and immediately a small earthen pot with legs appeared by the fire. He then took 1 grain of corn and also one of whortleberry and put them in the pot. Maid was very hungry, and seeing the limited scale of the old man's housekeeping, he thought his chance for supper was very slight. The old man had promised him something very delicate, and he seemed likely to keep his word. Maidwa looked on slightly, and did not change his face any more than if the greatest banquet that was ever spread had been going forward. The pot soon boiled, when the man said in a very quiet way, "The pot will stand at a distance from the fire." It removed itself, and the old man added to Maidwa, "My grandchild, feed yourself," handing him at the same time a dish and ladle of the same wares as the pot itself. "Hi, Turt. Oh, hi, Generium, 77% Riz. Giving a hug. Hi, Josh. 17% Riz. Oof. 22% love between Josh and the hug. Okay. Are we happy about that? How do we feel? Okay. Right, he said, go feed yourself. The young man, whose hunger was very great, helped himself to all that was in the pot. He felt ashamed to think that he had done so, but before he could speak, the old man said, "Eat, nay, grandchild, eat, eat." And soon after he again said, "Help yourself," from the pot. Maidwa was surprised, on dipping in his ladle, to see that it was full, and although he emptied it a second time, it was still again filled and refilled till his hunger was entirely satisfied. The old man then observed, without raising his voice, "The pot will return to its corner," and the pot took itself to its accustomed place in an out-of-the-way corner of the lodge. Maidwa observed that the old man was about to address him, and took an attitude which showed that he was prepared to listen. "Keep on, my grandchild," said the old man. "You will surely gain that you seek. To tell you more I am not permitted, but go on as you have begun, and you will not be disappointed. Tomorrow you will again reach one of my fellow old men, but the one you will see after him will tell you all, and the manner in which you must proceed to accomplish your journey. Often has this Red Swan passed, and those who have followed it have never returned, but you must be firm in your resolution and be prepared for all that may happen." "So will it be," answered Maidwa, and they both lay down to sleep. "Hello, we're done. You're sorting stuff out?" It's all good. Don't worry about it. I don't keep attendance. Good. Come get cozy if you'd like to. So they laid down to sleep. Early in the morning, the old man ordered his magic kettle to prepare breakfast so that his guest might eat before leaving. As Maidwa passed out, the old man gave him a blessing with his parting advice. And by passed out, they don't mean fell asleep, they mean passed out of the door, probably. Maidwa set forth in better spirits than at any time since he had started. Night again found him in company with an old man who entertained him kindly, with a frisky little kettle which hurried up to the fire before it was spoken to, bustled about and set his supper briskly before Maidwa, and frisked away again without awaiting orders. The old man also carefully directed him on his way in the morning. Aw, darn Turt. Well, I tried. Go ahead and lurk. Sounds good. He traveled with a light heart, as he now expected to meet the one who was to give him directions how to proceed to get the Red Swan. Toward nightfall, Maidwa reached the lodge of the third old man. Before coming to the door, he heard him saying, "Grandchild, come in," and going in promptly, he felt quite at home. The old man prepared him something to eat, acting as the other magicians had done, and his kettle was of the same size, and looked as if it were an own brother to the two others which had feasted him, except that this kettle, in coming and going about its household duties, would make a passing remark, or sing a little tune for itself. The little pots are just getting more and more alive. They're so cute. Oh, no worries, Don. You don't have to write anything. If you want to, it's cute, it's fun, but you don't have to. The old man waited until Maidwa had fully satisfied his hunger, when he addressed him. Trying to scroll differently. Okay. Young man, the errand you are bound on is beset with trials and difficulties. Numbers have passed with the same purpose as that which now prompts you, but they never returned. Be careful, and if your guardian spirits are powerful, you may succeed. This swan you are following is the daughter of a magician who has abundance of everything, but only this one child, whom he values more than the sacred arrows. In former times he wore a cap of wampum, which was attached to his scalp, but powerful Indians, warriors of a distant chief, came and told him that their chief's daughter was on the brink of the grave, and that she herself requested his wampum cap, which she was confident would save her life. If I can only see it, she said, I will recover. It was for this cap they had come, and after long solicitation the magician at length consented to part with it, in the hope that it would restore to health the dying maiden, although when he took it off to hand it to the messengers, it left the crown of his head bare and bloody. Years have passed since, and it has not healed. The coming of the warriors to procure it for the sick maiden was a cheat, and they are now constantly making sport of the unhappy scalp, dancing it about from village to village, and on every insult it receives, the poor old chief to whom it belongs groans with pain. Those who hold it are too powerful for the magician, and many have sacrificed themselves to recover it for him, but without success. The Red Swan has enticed many a young man, as she has you, to enlist them to procure the scalp, and whoever is so fortunate as to succeed, it is understood, will receive the Red Swan as his reward. In the morning you will proceed on your way, and toward evening you will come to this magician's lodge. You will know it by the groans which you will hear far over the prairie as you approach. He will ask you in. You will see no one but himself. He will question you much as to your dreams and the strength of your guardian spirits. If he is satisfied with your answers, he will urge you to attempt the recovery of his scalp. He will show you the course to take, and if you feel inclined, as I see that you do, go forward, my son, with a strong heart, persevere, and I have a presentiment that you will succeed. Maidwa answered, I will try. Which is good. I will do my best. Oh, you guys, poetry brothers. So cute. Okay. Oh, I've got a big yawn. Oh, sorry. Okay. Betimes in the morning, after having eaten from the magic kettle, which sung a sort of farewell chant on its way from the fireplace to its station in the corner, he set off on his journey. Toward evening, Maidwa, as he crossed the prairie, heard, as had been predicted, groans from a distant lodge, which were only interrupted by a voice from a person whom he could not see, calling to him aloud, Come in, come in. We need the yawn counter. You guys really do. So someone says, Come in, come in. You said it, and you made me yawn. Okay. On entering the lodge, I'm trying to rush in after a yawn, but it's like you're supposed to regulate your breathing. Okay. On entering the lodge, the magician heaved a great groan from the very bottom of his chest, and Maidwa saw that the crown of his head was all bare and bloody. Sit down, he said, while I prepare you something to eat. You see how poor I am. I have to attend to all my own wants, with no other servant than that poor little kettle in the corner. Kettle, we will have something to eat, if you please. In a moment the kettle spoke up from the corner. You will oblige me by making all the dispatch you can, said the magician in a very humble tone, still addressing the kettle. "Have patience," replied the kettle, "and I will be with you presently." Just the kettle's getting more and more sentient. Fun. After a considerable delay, there came forward out of the corner from which it had spoken a great heavy-browed and pot-bodied kettle, which advanced with much stateliness and solemnity of manner till it had come directly in front of the magician, whom it addressed with a question. "What will we have, sir?" "Corn, if you please." "Corn, if you please," the magician answered. "No, we will have whortleberries," rejoined the kettle, in a firm voice. "Very well, just as you choose." So now that the kettle is so alive, it chooses dinner, dang it. But why did you ask if you already had the answer is what I gotta know, kettle. Too cozy. Not enough caffeine, aka none caffeine. It's a terrible idea. When he supposed it was time, the magician invited Maidwa to help himself. "Hold a minute," interposed the kettle, as Maidwa was about to dip in his ladle. He paused, and after a delay, the kettle, shaking itself up and simmering very loudly, said, "Now we are ready." Maidwa fell to and satisfied his hunger. "Will the kettle now withdraw?" asked the magician, with an air of much deference. "No," said the kettle, "we will stay and hear what the young man has to say for himself." "Very well," said the magician. "You see," he added to Maidwa, "how poor I am. I have to take counsel with the kettle, or I should be all alone, without a day's food, and with no one to advise me." At this time the Red Swan was carefully concealed in the lodge, behind a curtain, from which Maidwa heard now and then a rustling noise that fluttered his spirits and set his heart beating at a wonderful rate. As soon as Maidwa had partaken of food and laid aside his leggings and moccasins, the old magician commenced telling him how he had lost his scalp, the insults it was receiving, the pain he suffered thereby, his wishes to regain it, the many unsuccessful attempts that had already been made, and the numbers and power of those who had retained it. He would interrupt his discourse at times with sudden groans and say, "Oh, how shamefully they are treating it." Maidwa listened to all the old magician had to say with solemn attention. The magician renewed his discourse and inquired of Maidwa as to his dreams, or what he saw in his sleep, at such times as he had fasted and darkened his face to procure guardian spirits. Maidwa then told him one dream. The magician groaned. "No, that's not it," he said. Maidwa told him of 2 or 3 others. The magician groaned again and again, and said, rather peevishly, "No, these are not the dreams." "Keep cool," said the kettle, which had left the fire, and was standing in the middle of the floor where a pleasant breeze was blowing through the lodge, and added, "Have you no more dreams of another kind?" "Yes," said Maidwa, and he told him one. "That will do," said the kettle. "We are much pleased with that. I gotta know what these dreams were and what the difference was. What made the difference?" "Yes, that's it, the magician added. "You will cause me to live. That was what I was wishing you to say. Will you then go and see if you cannot recover my poor scalp?" "Yes," said Maidwa, "I will go, and the day after tomorrow, when you hear the cack-cack cries of the hawk, honk, cack-cack." This one is spelled K-A-K-A-K. Cack-cack cries of the hawk. You will know that I am successful. You must prepare your head and lean it out through the door, so that the moment I arrive I may place your scalp on." "Yes, yes," said the magician. "As you say, it will be done." Early the next morning Maidwa set out to fulfill his promise, and in the afternoon, when the sun hangs toward home, he heard the shouts of a great many people. He was in a wood at that time, and saw, as he thought, only a few men. But as he went on, they increased in numbers. Emerging upon the plain, their heads appeared like the hanging leaves. They were so many. In the middle of the plain he perceived a post, and something waving at its top. It was the wampum's scalp, and every now and then the air was rent with the war song, for they were dancing the war dance in high spirit around it. Before he could be observed, Maidwa changed himself into a hummingbird. Well, dang, okay. And flew toward the scalp. As he passed some of those who were standing by, he came close to their ears, and as they heard the rapid whir or murmur which this bird makes when it flies, they jumped aside and asked each other what it could be. Maidwa had nearly reached the scalp, but fearing that he should be perceived while untying it, he again changed himself into the down that floats lightly on the air, and sailed slowly on to the scalp. He loosened it, and moved off heavily as the weight was almost too great for him to bear up. Well, you are just a bit of down right now. Okay. The Indians around would have snatched it away had not a lucky current of air just then buoyed him up. Buoyed him up? Anyway, as they saw that it was moving away, they cried out, "It is taken from us! It is taken from us!" Maidwa was borne gently along, but a little way above their heads, and as they followed him, the rush and hum of the people was like the dead beating of the surges upon a lake shore after a storm. But the good wind, gaining strength, soon carried him beyond their pursuit. Whoever's in charge of wind is really helping you out right now, guy. A little further on, he changed himself into a hawk, and flew swiftly off with his trophy, crying, "Cack-cack, cack-cack, I get the cacks." Okay, oh, sigh. I looked over at chat and then I lost my place. Oh, cack-cack. Till it resounded with its shrill tone through the whole country far and wide. Meanwhile, the magician had remembered the instructions of Maidwa, placing his head outside of the lodge as soon as he heard the cack-cack cry of the hawk. In a moment Maidwa came past with rustling wings, and as he flew by, giving the magician a severe blow on the head with the wampum scalp, his limbs extended and quivered in agony. The scalp adhered, and Maidwa, in his own person, walked into the lodge and sat down, feeling perfectly at home. The magician was so long in recovering from the stunning blow which had been dealt him, that Maidwa feared that in restoring the crown of his head he had destroyed his life. Presently, however, he was pleased to see him show, by the motion of his hands and limbs, that his strength was returning, and in a little while he rose and stood upon his feet. What was the delight of Maidwa to behold, instead of a withered old man, far advanced in years and stricken in sorrow, a bright and cheerful youth who glittered with life as he stood up before him. "Thank you, my friend," he said. "Your kindness and bravery of heart have restored me to my former shape. It was so ordained, and you have now accomplished the victory." They embraced, and the young magician urged the stay of his deliverer for a few days, and they formed a strong attachment to each other. Hmm? 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 The way they were like, it was his excitement that he became a young man. I was like, this is reading like when, oh yay, it's not an old lady anymore, it's a young lady. So I'm like, does Maidwa like the magician? Yes, please, 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 please. Okay, anyway. They embraced, stayed, they had a strong attachment. The magician, to the deep regret of Maidwa, never once alluded to the Red Swan in all their conferences. Oh, darn. Yeah, they kind of came all this way for the Red Swan, but okay. At last the day arrived when Maidwa prepared to return to his home. The young magician bestowed on him ample presents of wampum, fur, robes, and other costly things. Although Maidwa's heart was burning with him to see the Red Swan, to hear her spoken of, and to learn what his fortune was to be in regard to that fond object of his pursuit, he constrained his feelings, and so checked his countenance as to never look where he supposed he might She might be, sorry. His friend, the young magician, observed the same silence and caution. Maidwa's pack for traveling was now ready, and he was taking his farewell smoke, when the young magician thus addressed him. My friend Maidwa, you know for what cause you came thus far, and why you have risked so much and waited so long. You have proved my friend indeed. You have accomplished your object, and your noble perseverance shall not go unrewarded. If you undertake other things with the same spirit, you will always succeed. My destiny compels me to remain where I am, although I should feel happy to be allowed to go with you. I have given you of ordinary gifts all that you will need as long as you live, but I see you are backward to speak of the Red Swan. I vowed that whoever procured me my lost wampum scalp should be rewarded by possessing the Red Swan. Woohoo! He then spoke in a language which Maidwa did not understand. The curtain of the lodge parted, and the Red Swan met his gaze. It was a beautiful female that he beheld, so majestical and airy in her look that he seemed to see a creature whose home should rather be in the free heaven and among the rosy clouds than in this dusky lodge. Well, yeah, that's how birds work, bud. I don't know. And is this a bird or a woman? Anyway, okay. Take her, the young magician said. She is my sister. Treat her well. She is worthy of you, and what you have done for me merits more. She is ready to go with you to your kindred and friends. Did you confirm that with her? Can we hear that from her instead of you? Just want to confirm. Does she actually consent to this or what? Okay. She is ready to go with you to your kindred and friends, and has been so ever since your arrival, and my good wishes shall go with you both. The Red Swan smiled kindly on Maidwa, who advanced and greeted her. Hand in hand they took their way forth from the lodge, and watched by the young magician advanced across the prairie on their homeward course. So she does have a hand. She is a person, when she chooses to be, I guess. They traveled slowly and looked with double joy on the beautiful country over which they had both so lately passed, with hearts ill at ease. After 2 or 3 days they reached the lodge of the third old man, who had entertained him with the singing kettle. But the kettle was not there. The old man nevertheless received them very kindly, and said to Maidwa, You see what your perseverance has secured you. Do so always, and you will succeed in whatever you undertake. I'm going to take a second to hydrate and cough. Here we go. All right. Your cozy little home. Did you hear the cacks? Did you get those? Okay. On the following morning, when they were about to start, he pulled from the side of the lodge a bag, which he presented to Maidwa, saying, Grandchild, I give you this. It contains a present for you, and I hope you will live happily till old age. Bidding him farewell, they again set forward, and they soon came to the second old man's lodge. He also gave them a present, and bestowed his blessing. Nor did Maidwa see anything here of the frisky little kettle which had been so lively on his former visit. Well, dang. As they went on and came to the lodge of the first old man, their reception and farewell were the same, and when Maidwa glanced to the corner, the silent kettle, which had been the first acquaintance he had made in that family on his travels, was not there. What happened to all the funky little kettles? Where did they go? The old man smiled when he discovered the direction of Maidwa's glance, but he said nothing. Why? So rude. When, on continuing their journey, oh, Superior Comb. Interesting name. Welcome in, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I will pause the story just to go ahead and give you some dancey dances. Whoop, 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 whoop. There you go. Ooh, okay, so we'll do page ruffling as soon as we're done this story. We're a little ways out, but as soon as we're done, I'll do that for you, Superior Comb. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for dropping dances, people. Okay. Where were we? Oh yeah, I'm being on again. Okay. Um. Doing time, we saw that, but he said nothing. When, on continuing their journey, they at last approached the first town which Maidwa had passed in his pursuit, what about the second town? Oh well. The watchman gave notice as before, and he was shown into the chief's lodge. Sit down there, son-in-law, said the chief, pointing to a place near his daughter. And you also, he said to the Red Swan. The guy is not going to hang out with you. That is not going to be his wife, I doubt. Like, okay. The chief's daughter was engaged in coloring a girdle, and, as if indifferent to these visitors, she did not even raise her head. Presently the chief said, "Let someone bring in the bundle of our son-in-law." When the bundle was laid before him, Maidwa opened one of the bags which had been given to him. It was filled with various costly articles, wampum, robes, and trinkets, of much richness and value. These, in token of his kindness, he presented to the chief. The chief's daughter stole a glance at the costly gifts and then at Maidwa and his beautiful wife. She stopped working and was silent and thoughtful all the evening. The chief himself talked with Maidwa of his adventures, congratulated him on his good fortune, and concluded by telling him that he should take his daughter along with him in the morning. Maidwa said yes. Why do we gotta do this? The chief then spoke up, saying, "Daughter, be ready to go with him in the morning." Now it happened when the chief was thus speaking that there was a foolish fellow in the lodge, who had thought to have got the chief's daughter for a wife, and he jumped up, saying, "Who is he," looking grimly at Maidwa, "that he should take her for a few presents? I will kill him. See, I like that guy. I like that guy. The threat of violence may be a bit much, but like, yeah." Why do you get to have her? Like, you bought her? What the fuck is going on? I support you, sir. Especially since she seems very indifferent to the dude. Okay, and he raised a knife which he had in his hand and gave it a mighty flourish in the air. He kept up this terrible flourish till someone came and pulled him back to his seat, which he had been waiting for, and then he sat quiet enough. Oh, so he didn't go through it. Well, okay. Amid the greetings of their new friends, Maidwa and the Red Swan, with the chief's daughter, took their leave by peep of day, and toward evening, they reached their other town. They reached the other town. See, I think we're out of order with the two towns, but oh well. Reached the other town. The watchman gave the signal, and numbers of men, women, and children stood out to see them. They were again shown into the chief's lodge, who welcomed him, saying, "Son-in-law, you are welcome." And he requested Maidwa to take a seat by his daughter, and the two women did the same. After suitable refreshment for all, and while Maidwa smoked a pipe, the chief asked him to relate his adventures in the hearing of all the inmates of the lodge, and of the strangers who had gathered in at report of his singular fortunes. Maidwa gave them his whole story. When he came to those parts which related to the Red Swan, they turned and looked upon her in wonder and admiration, for she was very beautiful. They're just items, aren't they? How lovely. The chief then informed Maidwa that his brothers had been to their town in search of him, but they had gone back some time before, having given up all hopes of ever seeing him again. Oh, darn. He added that since he had shown himself a man of spirit, whom fortune was pleased to befriend, he should take his daughter with him. Oh, these women are going to be the wives for the brothers, aren't they? That's why we're bringing them along. Still rude. Kind of creepy. Let me just take you, and then you're going to belong to this person you've never met before in a place that is very, very isolated, where you have never been before. Isn't that lovely? Yay! Just because I did a thing that was cool. Okay. Okay. "For although your brothers," he said, "were here, they were too bashful to enter any of our lodges. They merely inquired for you and returned. You will take my daughter, treat her well, and that will bind us more closely together." It is always the case in an assembly or gathering that some one of the number is foolish and disposed to play the clown. It happened to be so here, so yet another person is going to jump up for the... Okay. One of this very sort was in the lodge, and after Maidwa had given the old chief presents, as he had to the other, this presenter jumped up in a passion and cried out, "Who is this stranger, that he should have her? I want her myself." The chief bade him be quiet, and not to disturb or quarrel with one who was enjoying their hospitality. "No, no," he exclaimed, rushing forward, as an act to strike. Maidwa sat unmoved, and paid no heed to his threats. He cried louder, "I will have her, I will have her," whereupon the old chief, being now vexed past patience, took his great war club and tapped this clownish fellow on the head, which so far subdued him that he sat for some time quite still, when after a while he came to himself. The chief upbraided him for his folly, and told him to go out and tell stories to the old women. What the heck? When at last Maidwa was about to leave, he invited a number of the families of the chief to go with him and visit their hunting grounds, where he promised them that they would find game in abundance. They consented, and in the morning a large company assembled and joined Maidwa and the chief with a party of warriors, and escorted them a long distance. When ready to return, the chief made a speech and besought the blessing of the good spirit on Maidwa and his friends. They parted, each on its course, making music with their war drums, which could be heard from afar as they glittered with waving feathers in the morning sun, in their march over the prairie, which was lost in the distant sky. After several days' travel, Maidwa and his friends came in sight of his home. The others rested within the woods, while he went alone in advance to see his brothers. He entered the lodge. It was all in confusion and covered with ashes. On one side, sitting among the cinders, with his face blackened and crying aloud, was his elder brother. On the other side sat the younger, Jeekewis, also with blackened face, his head covered with stray feathers and tufts of swan down. This one presented so curious a figure that Maidwa could not keep from laughing. He seemed to be so lost and far gone in grief that he could not notice his brother's arrival. The eldest, however, after a while, lifting up his head, recognized Maidwa, jumped up and shook his hands and kissed him, and expressed much joy at his return. Maidwa, as soon as he had seen the lodge set in order, made known that he had brought each of them a wife. Yep. As soon as Jeekewis heard a wife spoken of, he roused from his torpor, sprang to his feet, and said, "Why is it just now that you have come?" and at once made for the door and peeped out to the strangers. He then commenced jumping and laughing and crying out, "Women! Women!" What? Women! Women! Hey, dude! The fuck? And that was all the reception he gave his brother. He just said, "Why are you only now coming back?" And then just, "Yay, women!" What? Maidwa told them to wash themselves and prepare, for he would go and fetch the females in. Jesus. Jeekewis scampered about and began to wash himself, but he would every now and then, with one side of his head all feathers and the other clear and shining, peep forth to look at the women again. When they came near, he said, "I will have this and that one." He did not exactly know which. He would sit down for an instant and then rise and peep about and laugh. In fact, he acted like one beside himself. When you say he got the dog in him, no, I think this is just a little idiot. I mean, when they say females, it's already weird, and he's getting just excited and just any of them. I, no, guys, stop. All of this is so, and literally we have not gotten any confirmation of how these women feel. Yes. Oh, okay, get scratchies, baby. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Hmm? I don't know if you can hear very well, but she decided to shuffle about. big yawn from her. Okay, yes. Alright. Okay. As soon as an order was restored, and all the company who had been brought in were seated, Maidwa presented one of the chief's daughters to his eldest brother, saying, "These women were given to me to dispose of in marriage. I now give one to each. I intended so from the first." Jikuis spoke up and said, "I think we 3 wives would have been enough for you." Yeah, Jikuis, we don't need your shit. Maidwa led the other daughter to Jikuis and said, "My brother, here is one for you, and live happily." Jikuis hung down his head as if he was ashamed, but he would every now and then steal a look at his wife and also at the other women. Yeah, 'cause you just want all of the women. By and by he turned toward his wife and acted as if he had been married for years. Don't know what that means exactly. Maidwa, seeing that no preparation had been made to entertain the company, said, "Are we to have supper?" I just see that there's an ad gonna attempt. I'm gonna skip it. "Are we to have no supper?" He had no sooner spoken than forth from a corner stepped the silent kettle. I knew the kettle. I knew the kettles would show up when we got home. Which placed itself by the fire and began bubbling and boiling quite briskly. Presently that was joined by the big talking kettle, which said, addressing itself to Maidwa, "Master, we shall be ready presently." And then, dancing along, came from still another the frisky little kettle, which hopped to their side, and took an active part in the preparations for the evening meal. When all was nearly ready, a delicate voice was heard singing in the last corner of the lodge, and keeping up its dainty carol all the way to the fireplace. The fourth kettle joined the 3 cooks, and they all fell to with all their might, and in the best possible humor to dispatch their work. Okie doke. It was not long before the big kettle advanced toward Maidwa, and said in his own confident way, "Supper is ready." The feast was a jovial one, and although they were all hungry, and plied their ladies with right good will, yet dip in as often as they would, the 4 magic kettles held out, and had plenty to the end of the revel. To draw to a close, Maidwa and his friends lived in peace for a time. Their town prospered, there was no lack of children, and everything else was in abundance. One day the 2 brothers began to look dark upon Maidwa, and to reproach him for having taken from the medicine sack their deceased father's magic arrows. They upbraided him especially that one was lost. After listening to them in silence, he said that he would go in search of it, and that it should be restored, and the very next day, true to his word, he left them. So yeah, again, we have no confirmation that the women were really down with being objects, but I guess they were expecting that for their life anyway. I don't know. And those poor guys that were like, "I want her." I can't tell. Like, we don't know if they were just also very possessive, or like if the girls actually like them too. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like the moment, "Do we have any objections?" And they object, and it's like, "Too bad. Get lost." What's going on? Okay. Yeah. There's still so much story to go. Okay. And now we gotta find the arrow. But wasn't it in the Red Swan's neck? Oh, there's not that much left. Never mind. Okay. After traveling a long way and looking in every direction, almost hopeless of discovering the lost treasure. Hello, Natsuyatov? Natsuyat? I'm not sure how to say it because the T in the. Oh, Natsuya TV. There you go, Raven. Jeez, it's not that hard. Oh, welcome in, welcome in. Okay. After traveling a long way and looking in every direction, almost hopeless of discovering the lost treasure, he came to an opening in the earth, and descending it led him to the abode of departed spirits. The country appeared beautiful, the pastures were greener than his own, and the sky bluer than that which hung over the lodge. And the extent of it was utterly lost in a dim distance, and he saw animals of every kind wandering about in great numbers. The first he came to were buffaloes. His surprise was that when they addressed him as human beings. They asked him what he came for, how he had descended, and why he was so bold to visit the abode of the dead. He answered that he was in quest of a magic arrow to appease the anger of his brothers. "Very well," said the leader of the buffaloes. whose form was nothing but bone. Oh, they're just skeletons. Cool. Yes, we know it. And he and his followers moved off a little space from Maidwa, as if they were afraid of him. You have come, resumed the buffalo spirit, to a place where a living man has never before been. You will return immediately to your tribe, for under pretense of recovering one of the magic arrows which belonged to you by your father's dying wish, they have sent you off that they might become possessed of your beautiful wife, the Red Swan. Speed home. You will find the magic arrow at the lodge door. You will live to a very old age and die happily. You can go no further in these abodes of ours. Well, thank you, skeleton buffalo. I shall go. That's what I'd be saying. Maidwell looked, as he thought, to the west, and saw a bright light as if the sun was shining in its splendor, but he saw no sun. What light is that yonder? He asked. The all-boned buffalo answered, It is the place where those who were good, dwell. Ooh, okay. Sorry, another skip. And that dark cloud? Maidwa again asked. It is the place of the wicked, answered the buffalo. Maidwa turned away, for it was very dark, and it pained his eyes to look upon it. And, moving away by the aid of his guardian spirits, he again stood upon the earth, and beheld the sun giving light as usual. All else that he had learned from the abodes of the dead, and his travels and acts previous to his return homeward, are unknown, for he never spoke of them to any human being. Okay, so whatever else he did there, nobody gets to know, I guess. After wandering a long time to gather knowledge to make his people happy and to add to their comfort, he one evening drew near to his own village. He was supposed to hurry back. The buffaloes did tell him to hurry. Okay. He eventually gets near his village. Passing all the other lodges, he came to his own door, where he found the magic arrow, as he had been promised. He heard his brothers from within at high words with each other. They were quarreling for the possession of his wife, who through all his absence had remained constant and sadly awaited his return. Maidwa listened in shame and sorrow. He entered the lodge, holding his head aloft, as one conscious of He entered the lodge holding his head aloft, as one conscious of good principle and shining with anger. He spoke not a word, but placing the magic arrow to his bow, he would have laid his brothers dead at his feet. But just then the talking kettle stepped forward and spoke such words of wisdom, and the singing kettle trolled forth such a soothing little song, and the guilty brothers were so contrite and keenly repentant of their intended wrong, and the Red Swan was so radiant and forgiving, the silent kettle straightway served them up so hearty and wholesome a meal, and the frisky little kettle was so joyful and danced about so merrily, that when the magic arrows were laid away in the medicine sack by Maidwa, there was that night in all the Indian country no happier family than the three brothers, who ever after dwelt together in all kindness, as all good brothers should. The end. My goodness, what a mess. This was the story of women are objects. Yay! I mean, that does feature in a lot of them, but this one particularly, like, usually with the other stories, the women are like, yeah, I'm happy about that. Or like, they don't talk about it at all. But this one, they directly had the one woman being like, I am so disinterested. I so don't want to be here. And the other people in their communities being like, what? Why? Why are you doing that? That it's like, yeah, we really should consider, shouldn't we? Huh? It's interesting. And yet they still didn't do anything about it. Okay. Said that they had lots of kids, but they didn't say that those wives were happy. The only one that they said was like sad, waiting for her husband or something like that, was the Red Swan. There was no info on the other women. Unfortunate. Okay, we're gonna do redeems now, but I also have to run an ad, so I think I'll hit the ad first and set up the mic the way I usually do for redeems time, which is different from story time. And we'll get going with paid ruffling first. So here we go. An ad, 30 seconds, incoming, 3, 2, 1. I bonked it. And now I'm gonna adjust stuff, so I'm gonna mute. Okay. Ooh, water jar next. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, I'll get real close. And just real quick. Ooh. I can't get the mic close enough. You can hear a little bit, right? Should be happy. Alright, we're gonna do page ruffling. That's what we're up to now. Not sticks rustle, that was just the last one. There we go. Ooh, and then page flipping. I'll do page flipping right after, and then water jar just for the convenience. Here we go. That was our page ruffling, and now we're going to do page flipping. By the way, this sounds insane with the little echo that's on this. Just thought I'd tell you that. There is our page flipping. I'll do water jar next. Sorry. Oh. Oh no, what has just happened? I'm gonna fix that. That's better. Okay, here we go. Such a silly redeem. I love it. I need to make my own water jar when I get back. I did that. I did that. I did that. It's heartbeats time. I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna set myself up and then we'll have heartbeats. Hey, there was our heartbeats. We had that and put it back. If we have any other redeems, I'd be happy to do those, but it doesn't look like we have any right now, so I'm planning to go on to the next story. Next story is called The Man with His Leg Tied Up, and it's a good lot shorter, so we won't have to wait very long for our next redeem. What y'all think? You say nodders, Fetster? Okay, then I think we'll go on to the next story. Like I said, it's a much faster one, so we'll be able to do redeems right away. And I think after that one, if we don't have much redeems, I'm gonna make some redeems. So it'll be fun. Oh, we're getting bees so noisy over there. me pet your face. Thank you. Oh, wow. Model got all scrunched up face. It's so funny. Okay, the man with his leg tied up. The man with his leg tied up. Do, 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 do. Let's do it. Ta-da! Beat it. Ooh! You know what? Because he did glove gloves. Let's do glove gloves for the next story. I love glove gloves. They're just silly and fun. I'll do them now. Light them. I may need to add these to my throne. The gaming laptop is a little bit more necessary if anybody wants me to do gaming, but gloves could be very significant and use them every stream, so I don't know. Okay. Here's gloves. The glitter was getting stuck and I wanted to do full snow globe. Stop getting stuck on one side. Okay, test them. Okay, now we go to story. Alright, there we go. And I just actually, hold on. Oh. Sorry, lots of adjustments there. Okay, the man with his leg tied up will have to wait for but a moment because I have a poem to read. Ooh. Raven with eyes like emeralds in the night, her antlers tempting like a treat in sight. She wove her charm a lullaby so deep, then stole my food. Why so rude and yet I sleep? Why we gotta do the food thing? I don't take your food at dawn. Stop! I'm not a food thief. We need to put that away. It needs to die. I cannot even get there. Oh, I should have said I hit X instead of check. My brain didn't do that right. On the workup, we say stop in the name of the law. But also her eyes look a little bit like it's kind of like she's crying. I don't know. Like look at the big blues. I can't tell. Is it just her eye colors? I think just her eye colors. Yeah. Oh, very blue. Very, very blue. Oh, I'm fully distracted. Okay. The man with his leg tied up. Here we go. You'll stop the food. Okay. Okay, good. Man with his leg tied up. Woohoo. Ooh. Alright. As a punishment for having once upon a time used that foot against a venerable medicine man, Ago da Gauda, 3 different names, Ago da Gauda, had one leg looped up to his thigh, so that he was obliged to get along by hopping. So because he, like, saying used a foot against a medicine man, I guess I would say, okay, he kicked a medicine man, he's gonna get it. He's gonna get his leg tied up up to his thigh so that he has to hop around. I like it. Okay. By dint of practice, he had become very skillful in this exercise, and he could make leaps which seemed almost incredible. Ago had a beautiful daughter, and his chief care was to secure her from being carried off by the king of the buffaloes, who was the ruler of all the herds of that kind, and had them entirely at his command to make them do as he willed. Interesting. You're fighting off a final boss of one of your favorite games while listening to Storytime ASMR. I hope it's a cozy good time while also being badass, killing all the bad guy stuff. I like it. It's your little blend of your vibe. Yes. it's it's the turtle boy aesthetic. Okay. Uh where am I? King of the Buffaloes want to do whatever they could. Okay. Oh my god. Daguda, too, was quite an important person in his own way, for he lived in great state, having a log house of his own, and a courtyard which extended from the sill of his front door as many hundred miles westward as he chose to measure it. Although he might claim this extensive privilege of ground, he advised his daughter to keep within doors, and by no means to go far in the neighborhood, as she would otherwise be sure to be stolen away, as he was satisfied with the Buffalo King spent night that the Buffalo King spent night and day lurking about and lying in wait to seize her. I don't know why he's so certain the Buffalo King is trying to steal his daughter, but I mean, maybe. And I will say, this feels like a clear, um, what is the word? Sanitization, colonized version of this story because it's very, very unlikely, very weird for any Native Americans to be thinking of the ground as theirs. Like, he didn't own the land, it's not his kind of thing. It's interesting. But I suppose that if we just kind of think of it as, yeah, we live right by this giant area, just be careful around it is probably more like it. But anyway, okay. Mm-hmm. Uh, one sunshiny morning. Excuse me? Excuse me? Why are we loud? What's that about? I can't even see her. Where are you even? Why were you loud? What's happening? Are you gonna be loud? What are you doing? Are you gonna scrumped? And she just walks back away. What the heck? What is happening? Yes, I see you, Dawn. I see the honk. I will get to that eventually. I got thoroughly distracted, okay? Kitty's having a moment, and I don't understand what it is. Okay, um, Daguda, yes. Hoppin' man, Ago Daguda. One sunshiny morning when there were just two or three promising clouds rolling moistly about the sky, rolling moistly about the sky, what a phrase, Ago prepared to go out a-fishing, again with a-fishing, but before he left the lodge he reminded her of her strange and industrious lover, whom she had never seen. Wait, it's her lover? Do you mean attempted lover? Because have they done this before? Did the Buffalo King do this before? Is that why we think? But it says that she had never seen. So what? What the heck? What? Just avoid the Buffalo Man. Okay, good. Okay. English do be Englishing out. It really is in this particular story. Oh boy. Could we not pick any other word besides lover and industrious? I mean, like, whom she had never seen, then not her lover. Okay. Anyway, my daughter, said he, Ago, the dad, I'm going out to fish, and as the day will be a pleasant one, you must recollect, that we have an enemy near, who is constantly going about with two eyes that never close, and do not expose yourself out of the lodge. With this excellent advice, Ago hopped off in great spirits, but he had scarcely reached the fishing ground when he heard a voice singing at a distance. Man with the leg tied up, man with the leg tied up, broken hip, hip, hipped. Man with the leg tied up, man with the leg tied up, broken leg, leg, legged. Sounds like someone's threatening him that they're going to break his hip and his leg. What the heck? There was no one in sight, but Ago heard the words quite plainly, and as he suspected the ditty to be the work of his enemies, the buffaloes, he hopped home as fast as his one leg could carry him. Meantime, the daughter had no sooner been left alone in the lodge than she thought with herself, "It is hard to be thus forever kept indoors. Has it been a day? Has it not even been a day? Like, how long have you been alone? You can manage indoors. Don't say, oh, forever. No, girl." Okay. "But my father says it would be dangerous to venture abroad. I know what I will do. I will get on the top of the house, and there I can comb and dress my hair, and no one can harm me. I don't know if that's better. Can you not do that inside? I don't know what's going on." "Ah, yar! I have no bananas to hide, but welcome in. Hello, hello. Thank you for the raid. You know what? Let's drop a little dancey for you." Hi, the banana. Thank you for giving this shout out. Go check out Yar, folks. Yeah. Welcome in. Get cozy. Okay. Alright. So she's saying that she's gonna just hang out. She accordingly ascended the roof and busied herself in untying and combing her beautiful hair, for it was truly beautiful, not only of a fine glossy quality, but it was so very long that it hung over the eaves of the house and reached down to the ground as she sat dressing it. Is this gonna be Rapunzel? Is the buffalo dude gonna climb up her hair? Oh gosh. Okay. She was wholly occupied in this employment without a thought of danger when all of a sudden the king of the buffaloes came dashing on with his herd of followers, yeah, and making sure of her by means of her drooping tresses, he placed her upon the back. Okay, so yeah, he he took her by grabbing her hair. He placed her upon the back of one of his favorite buffaloes, and away he cantered over the plains, plunging into a river that bounded his land. He bore her safely to his lodge on the other side. God damn it. And now the Buffalo King, having secured the beautiful person of Ago Daguda's daughter, he set to work to make her heart his own. Oh, okay, so he's gonna romance her. He's not just gonna take her and force her. He's like, now I'm gonna make you love me. Oh boy. A little ceremony, which it would have been, perhaps, wiser for his majesty, the king of the buffaloes, to have attended to do before, for he now worked to little purpose. Although he had labored with great zeal to gain her affections, she sat pensive and disconsolate in the lodge among the other females and scarcely ever spoke. Nor did she take the least interest in the affairs of the king's household. So they were trying to say it would have been better if he had tried to win her over before he stole her, but you know what? Here we are. And it's really not having any effect because she's just pouting. She's just not having any of it. To the king himself she paid no heed, and although he breathed forth to her every soft and gentle word he could think of, she sat still and motionless, for all the world, like one of the lowly bushes by the door of her father's lodge, when the summer wind has died away. The king enjoined it upon the others in the lodge as a special edict, on pain of instant death, to give Ago's daughter everything that she wanted, and to be careful not to displease her. They set before her the choicest food. They gave her the seat of honor in the lodge. The king himself went out hunting to obtain the most dainty meats, both of animals and wild fowl, to pleasure her palate, and he treated her every morning to a ride upon one of the royal buffaloes, who was so gentle in his motions as not even to disturb a single one of the tresses of the beautiful hair of Ago's daughter as she paced along. And Not content with these proofs of his attachment, the king would sometimes fast from all food, and having thus purified his spirit and cleared his voice, he would take his Indian flute and, sitting before the lodge, give vent to his feelings in pensive echoes, something after this fashion. So he went something kind of like this. My sweetheart, ah me, when I think of you, when I think of you, ah me. What can I do, how I love you, ah me. Do not hate me, ah me. Speak e'en, berate me, when I think of you, ah me. What can I do? Lovely little songs. In the meantime, Dagauda, had reached home, and finding that his daughter had been stolen, his indignation was so thoroughly awakened that he would have forthwith torn every hair from his head, but being entirely bald, this was out of the question. He'd already done that. No. So, as an easy and natural vent to his feelings, Ago hopped off a mile in every direction. First he hopped east, then he hopped... Did he hop back before he hopped these places? Anyways, first he hopped east, then he hopped west. Next he hopped north, and again he hopped south. So that makes me wonder, did he only adventure east and north, or did he fully go back and then go south and west and whatever? Anyway, all in search of his daughter, till the one leg was fairly tired out. Then he sat down in his lodge, and resting himself a little, he reflected. And then he vowed that his single leg should never know rest again until he had found his beautiful daughter and brought her home. For this purpose he immediately set out. When he says his single leg, does that mean when they tied off the leg, did they actually cut it? Because, I gotta wonder now, can he not just, it's kind of an emergency. Let's do something to be able to, cut it off. But I don't know. Cut off the rope, let the other leg out. But I guess it would be pretty weak in comparison at this point. Well, I don't know. Anyway, okay. um, found himself, vowed that he would never know he would get it. Then he set out. Okay. Now that he proceeded more coolly, he could easily track the Buffalo King until he came to the banks of the river, where he saw that he had plunged in and swam over. Hold on, I got caught. He swam over. There having been a frosty night or two since, the water was so covered with thin ice that Ago could not venture upon it, even with one leg, actually, especially with one leg. You need to lay low. Anyway, we've been through this last stream. He encamped hard by till it became more solid, and then crossed over and pursued the trail. As he went along, he saw branches. Are you serious? Shush. He saw He saw branches broken off and strewn behind, which guided him in his course, for these had been purposefully cast along by the daughter, and the manner in which she had accomplished it was this: her hair was all untied when she was caught up. Wait, did I skip a thing? There had been a frosty... Yeah, no, okay. When she was caught up, and being very long, it took hold of the branches as they darted along, and it was these twigs that she broke off as signs to her father. When Ago came to the king's lodge, it was evening. Carefully approaching, he peeped through the sides and saw his daughter sitting disconsolate. He immediately caught his eye, and knowing that it was her father come for her, she all at once appeared to relent in her heart, and asking for the royal dipper, said to the king, "I will go and get you a drink of water." This token of submission delighted his majesty, and high in hope he waited with impatience for her return. At last he went out, but nothing could be seen or heard of the captive daughter. Calling together his followers, they sallied forth upon the plains, and had not gone far when they espied, by the light of the moon, which was shining roundly just over the edge of the prairie, Ago da Gauda, his daughter in his arms, making all speed with his one leg toward the west. Could she not have been running? No, I don't know. And I just had an image of him hopping with his arms full, and I don't know why I saw Tigger bouncing on his tail. I don't know why that, because he does the big bounce, but oh my gosh. Anyway, okay. The buffaloes, being set on by their king, raised a great shout and scampered off in pursuit. They thought to overtake Ago in less than no time, but although he had a single leg only, it was in such fine condition to go that to every pace of theirs he hopped the length of a cedar tree. So he's getting far away. You're not catching up, Buffalo. Oh, but okay. So he thinks the Buffalo King, but the Buffalo King was well assured that he would be able to overtake Ago, hop as briskly as he might. It would be a mortal shame, thought the king, to be outstripped by a man with one leg tied up. So, shouting and cheering, and issuing orders on all sides, he set the swiftest of his herd upon the track with strict commands to take Ago, dead or alive. And a curious sight it was to see. At one time a buffalo would gain handsomely upon Ago, and be just at the point of laying hold of him, when off Ago would hop, a good furlong, in an oblique line, wide out of his reach, which bringing him nearly in contact with another of the herd, away he would go again, just as far off in another direction. You'll never catch me. Woo, 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 woo. And in this way Ago kept the whole company of the buffaloes zigzagging across the plain, with the poor king at their head, running to and fro, shouting among them and hurrying them about in the wildest way. It was an extraordinary road that Ago was taking home, and after a time it so puzzled and bewildered the buffaloes that they were driven half out of their wits. Okay, Cage, we will see you another time. I may or may not be streaming tonight. I was gonna say it at the next break. It's very close, but basically, yeah, I'm not totally sure what we'll be doing tonight. It might be that I skip it, it might be that I have a different kind of timing, but you'll get your notification from Discord if you got that, when I do go live. Okay. They were very confused with the direction he was heading. They were losing their minds, and they roared and brandished their tails and foamed, as if they would put out of countenance and frighten out of sight the old man in the moon, who was looking on all the time just above the edge of a prairie. As for the king himself, losing at all patience at the absurd idea of chasing a man with one leg all night long, he called his herd together and fled, in disgust, toward the west, and never appeared in all that part of the country. Yay! No more buffalo dude. Ago, relieved of his pursuers, hopped off 100 steps in one, till he reached the stream, crossed it in a twinkling of the eye, and bore his daughter in triumph to his lodge. In the course of time Ago's beautiful daughter married a very worthy young warrior, who was neither a buffalo king, nor so much as the owner of any more of the buffaloes than a splendid skin robe which he wore, with great effect, thrown over his shoulders on his wedding day. On occasion Ago da Gauda hopped about on his one leg livelier than ever. On which occasion he did that hopping. Sorry. The end. So I like that one. She got kidnapped, and she was... I don't know how you couldn't just stay inside, but maybe it took longer than I thought. Maybe she was dad was away longer than I thought. But the fact that the king was then still like, okay, now I gotta win her over, and she's like, I'm not having it. And hi. That this was all like, yeah, you don't get to just take me and have me. Enough of that bullshit. And that she got away, and that even dad saved her. It wasn't a romantic interest. Dad saved her. It was a little bit like dad being scared of men liking her, but then we see that, like she chose somebody and he was very happy for her at the end. That's so sweet. This feels like the exact opposite of the last story. And that's kind of cute. I like it. But yeah, now we'll go on to redeems. So I'll boop that away, and I'll start with the whispers. Ooh. Fetster stinky, 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 fetster stinky. Fetster stinky, fetster stinky, fetster stinky. Sorry, Fat. I have a feeling that Lahonk is gonna go to everybody. It's just the next um thread of the bonk side attacking everybody. He's gonna go after all of you. But thank you for that, I guess, Lahonk. You guys are so silly. Raven, that's out of pocket. It's not me. Lahonk makes me say it. Okay, I'm gonna move this stuff, adjust, and check on the freaking kitty. Whatever that's about. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, so all settled in. I've seen no redeems. The heck? I just. Hmm. Okay. Noises. Um. Stop. Hello? Hello? Where are you? There you are. Okay. Let me just take that noisy collar off. You're staying inside anyway. Jingle, jingle. Jingle, jingle. You have to keep it up just for a little bit because you're too noisy. You're too noisy. Not having it. Okay. Roll the one. Oh, sorry, dog. Check out what the Stinky Bot says. Stinky Bot only says 8%? Well, Hunk's clearly a liar for doing that. Turtle Boy, 19%. That's nonsense. That's a lie. Okay. We have a hydrate and we have tuning fork. So let me hydrate and let me bring out the tuning fork. Here we go. Do 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 do. Hydrate. Good audio with that. And now I'll fix this up. We want tuning fork. I'm moving along now. Tuning fork. Okey-doke. Oh, what are the rest of your numbers? Let's see. 51% Riz, unfortunate. Roll a 3, yikes. 106 Riz, dang. Okay. 21% love, a Dawn and me. Oh, lies. The 8, sad. The 49% love, still inaccurate. Still inaccurate. Riz of 35%. Oh, yikes. Yeah, not all good numbers there. Okay, I'm gonna move this. Ooh, and bring out the tuning fork. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna use the other tuning fork, slightly different sound. Okay, chill out. We may need to put you elsewhere. Okay. I've been touching her stuff the whole time, just not the potions, just not the magic stuff. Big old deer nose. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move on to something else. Let's do something else. So this one is one that I have in my normal place, but you can't hear it as well. Ah, noisy. Can't hear it as well back at Emerald Lake, but you'll be able to hear it soon. And yes, it's been sitting in a cursed chair. It's been going better now. Okay, so here are these. You're so loud. You're so loud. Why? Why? That better be a freaking clip. And I had to change mics because if I laughed at my full volume, you guys would go deaf. What the heck? Okay, we're gonna go pick up for beaded earrings a little bit more. Oh my gosh. Okay. I love wearing beaded earrings because you hear that little jingle just a little bit every time you move. It's so fun. Okay. Alright, any other redeems? If not, I think I'm going to go take care of a putty cat. You affirm it, do a BRB, and yeah, just miss the clip. Well, make it after. Do it. It was too good. It was too good. We need it. Need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. But we need this one. That was too good. Oh gosh. Okay. Oh dang. Okay, so we have 17 minutes before the next ad has to happen and not much snoozing. But we also have more than a half hour left, so I think I will run an ad and do a BRB while I try and sort Kitty, and then we will back for. Oh, you got a clip for perfect. Thank you, Pat. I'm excited. I'm excited to see that eventually. Um, I'm gonna look after that. Try and make sure needs are associated. What should I name that clip? Interruption. Some kind of interruption. I think just interruption would be good. Um, I love it. I was gonna name it Deer versus Cat. That implies fight. I don't like. I don't know. What you want to name it is what you want to name it. It's all good. I can request a clip. I feel like I can't request more than that. Okay. Yeah, I'll do a BRB. I'll do a 30-second ad, and hopefully everything will be sorted. But we'll find out, you know? You just heard a little. So, yeah, I guess I gotta go give some attention. Jeez. Here we go. Sorry, the music was a little aggressively turned on. Okay, there we go. There we go. You better be cozy. Just a little quiet, of course. Just a little pouty. Okay, well now you give attention. You're so silly. You're so silly. Kitty interruption. Perfect. Okay. So sweet. Oh my gosh, you thought that was a person, Don? No, that was a big old kitty. That was a kitty squirrel. Squirrel. Oh, and now you don't want to hang out? You're so silly. You're so silly. Oh, don't tell me you're gonna scream. Now over at the door, acting like you're gonna scream. I can't. Just so silly. Just too silly. Okay. Oh, well. I suppose that's a pretty good, um, trigger break. And, we've got half an hour to read one more story. I mean, that sounds pretty good to me. Let's go. It's not a terribly long story. My tuning forks. Not my tuning forks, Vi's tuning forks. Just open folks them away. Let's go for it. Just. Okay. This one is called The Little Spirit, or Boy Man. It's me, Boy Man, come to save the day. Or the little spirit, maybe like you're a man child? Is that it? What does this mean? So silly. Oh, everything is so silly. I'm loving it. Alright. I wanna find out who is Boy Man. Boy Man. Okay. There we go. Okay. My sound too far away? Because I haven't put the mic back. I was typing, my hands were busy. I hold on to the mic when I read, so that's nice and close for you guys, but I was still figuring it out. Cat be like, meh. Yeah. Cat was big mouth. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna cough. Alright, let's go. The little spirit, or boy man. In a little lodge. No, wait, hold on. Music. You're still just a little loud. I don't like you very much. It's distracting. You're very pretty music back here. Oh, it's distracting. Okay. In a little lodge at a beautiful spot on a lakeshore, alone with his sister, lived a boy remarkable for the smallness of his stature. Oh, it's a short joke. I was hoping that it was a maturity joke, but okay. All right. Many large rocks were scattered around their habitation, and it had a very wild and out-of-the-way look. Like, that's what I thought it done, but I guess it's just a small man. The boy grew no longer, sorry, the boy grew no larger as he advanced in years, and yet, small as he was, he had a big spirit of his own. Okay, so he does have big spirit. It's not little spirit. Anyway, okay. And loved dearly to play the master in the lodge. One day in winter he told his sister to make him a ball to play with, as he meant to have some sport along the shore of the clear ice. When she handed him the ball, his sister cautioned him not to go too far. He laughed at her and posted off in high glee, throwing his ball before him and running after it at full speed, and he went as fast as his ball. At last his ball flew to a great distance. He followed as fast as he could. After he had run forward for some time, he saw what seemed 4 dark spots upon the ice, straight before him. Oh no, something gonna happen. When he came up to the shore, he was surprised to see 4 large, tall men laying on the ice, spearing fish. They were 4 brothers who looked exactly alike. As the little boy man approached them, the nearest looked up, and in his turn he was surprised to see such a tiny being, and turning to his brothers he said, "Tia, look! See what a little fellow is here." The 3 others thereupon looked up too, and seeing these 4 faces, as if they had been one, the little spirit or boy man said to himself, 4 in 1, what a time they must have in choosing their hunting shirts. After they had all stared for a moment at the boy, they covered their heads, intent in searching for fish. The boy thought to himself, "These 4 faces fancy that I am to be put off without notice because I am so little. They are so broad and long, they shall find out. I may find a way to teach them that I am not to be treated so lightly. You gonna laugh at me for being small? Take this. Okay, what are you gonna do, little dude? I'm ready for you to get chaotic in here. Let's do it." After they were covered up, the boy man, looking sharply about, saw that among them they had caught one large trout, which was lying just by their side. Stealing along, he slyly seized it, and placing his fingers in the gills and tossing his ball before him, he ran off at full speed. They heard the pattering of his little steps upon the ice, and when the 4 looked up all together, they saw their fine trout sliding away as if of itself, at a great rate, the boy being so small that he could not be distinguished from the fish. He was not that small. No. Well, how big are these fish? Okay. "See," they cried out, "our fish is running away on the dry land." When they stood up, they could just see, over the fish's head, that it was the boy man who was carrying it off. The little spirit reached the lodge, and having left the trout at the door, he told his sister to go out and bring in the fish he had brought home. She exclaimed, "Where could you have got it? I hope you have not stolen it." "Oh," he replied, "I found it on the ice. It was caught in our lake. We have no right to a little lake of our own? Have we no right to a little lake of our own? I shall claim all the fish that come out of its waters." "How," the sister asked again, "could you have got it there?" "No matter," said the boy, "go and cook it." "I thieved it, of course. You called me out already. Don't worry about it." It was such as the girl could it was as much as the girl could do, to drag the great trout within doors, so it is a big fish. She cooked it, and its flavor was so delicious that she asked no more questions as to how he had come by it. The next morning, the little spirit, or boy man, set off as he had the day before. He made all sorts of sport with his ball as he frolicked along. High over his head he would toss it straight up into the air, then far before him, and again, in mere merriment of spirit, he would send it bounding back, as if he had plenty of speed and enough to spare in running back after it. And the ball leaped and bounded about and glided through the air as if it were a live thing, and enjoyed the sport as much as the boy man himself. When he came within hail of the 4 large men who were fishing there every day, he cast his ball with such force that it rolled into the ice hole about which they were busy. Okay, so it's fallen into where they're trying to fish. The boy, standing on the shore of the lake, called out, 4 in 1, pray hand me my ball. No, indeed, they answered, setting up a grim laugh which curdled their 4 dark faces all at once. We shall not. And with their fishing spears they thrust the ball under the ice. Good, said the boy man, we shall see. Oh, what has he got now? What plan is it this time? Saying which, he rushed upon the 4 brothers and thrust them at one, pushed into the water. His ball bounded back to the surface, and picking it up, he ran off, tossing it before him in his own sportive way. Outstripping it in speed, he soon reached home and remained within till the next morning. So one of the brothers, at least... Oh no, it looks like that he got all 4 at once. Which how? But good on him. Okay. The 4 brothers, rising up from the water at the same time, dripping in wrath, roared out in one voice at a terrible threat of vengeance, which they promised to execute the next day. They knew the boy's speed, and that they could by no means overtake him. By times in the morning, the 4 brothers were stirring in their lodge and getting ready to look after their revenge. Their old mother, who lived with them, begged them not to go. Better, said she, now that your clothes are dry, to think no more of the ducking than to go and all 4 of you get your heads broken, as you surely will, for that boy is a monedo, or he could not perform such feats as he does. But her sons paid no heed to this wise advice, and raising a great war cry, which frightened the birds overhead nearly out of their feathers, they started for the boy's lodge among the rocks. The little spirit or boy man heard them roaring forth their threats as they approached, but he did not appear to be disguised in the least. His sister as yet had heard nothing. After a while she thought she could distinguish the noise of snowshoes on the snow, at a distance, but rapidly advancing. She looked out, and seeing the 4 large men coming straight to their lodge, she was in great fear, and running in, exclaimed, He is coming, 4 times as strong as ever. For she supposed that one man whom her brother had offended had become so angry as to make 4 of himself in order to wreak his vengeance. The boy man said, Why do you mind them? Give me something to eat. He's just so chill about it. How can you think of eating at such a time? She replied. Do as I request you, and be quick. Okay, we don't need your sass, sir. She then gave little spirit his dish, and he commenced eating. Just then the brothers came to the door. See, cried the sister, the man with 4 heads. Is it really one body, 4 heads? Is that how that is? Mm-mm. The brothers were about to lift the curtain at the door when the boy man turned his dish upside down, and immediately the door was closed with a stone. Ooh, magic! Upon which the 4 brothers set to work and hammered with their clubs with great fury, until at length they succeeded in making a slight opening. One of the brothers presented his face at this little window, and rolled his eye about at the boy man in a very threatening way. The little spirit, who when he had closed the door had returned to his meal, which he was quietly eating, took up his bow and arrow which lay by his side, and let fly the shaft, which striking the man in the head, he fell back. The boy man merely called out "Number 1" as he fell, and went on with his meal. Oh no, looks like their mom's going to be right, that he's going to get them all done. In a moment a second face, just like the first, presented itself, and as he raised his bow, his sister said to him, "What is the use? You have killed that man already." What is he? Just a large forehead times 4 times larger? No, I don't know what this is. I think it's just 4 guys. You know, like the quadruplets. There's just the twins, but 4. uh, I think that's all. But anyway, or very similar looking brothers. Who knows? Killed that man already. Little spirit fired his arrow. The man fell. He called out number 2 and continued his meal. The 2 others of the 4 brothers were dispatched in the same quiet way, and he counted off number 3 and number 4. After they were all disposed of in this way, the boy man directed his sister to go out and see them. She presently ran back, saying, "There are 4 of them." "Of course," the boy man answered, "and there always shall be 4 of them." Going out himself, the boy man raised the brothers to their feet, and giving each a push, one with his face to the east, another to the west, a third to the south, and the last to the north, he sent them off to wander about the earth. And whenever you see 4 men just alike, they are the 4 brothers whom the little spirit or boy man dispatched on their travels. They are alive after an arrow to the face? Okay. But this was not the last display of the boy man's power, evidently. When spring came on and the lake began to sparkle in the morning sun, the boy man said to his sister, "Make me a new set of arrows and a bow." Although he provided for their support, the little spirit never performed household or hard work of any kind, and his sister obeyed. He doesn't even put in his own share. Oh, fine. When she had made the weapons, which, though they were very small, were beautifully wrought, and of the best stuff the field and wood could furnish, she again cautioned him not to shoot into the lake. "She thinks," said the boy man to himself, "I can see no further into the lake than she. My sister shall learn better." Regardless of her warnings, he on purpose discharged a staff into the lake, waded out into the water till he got into its depth, and paddled about for his arrow, so as to call the attention of his sister, and as if to show that he hardly braved her advice. She hurried to the shore, calling on him to return, but instead of heeding her, he cried out, "You of the red fins, come and swallow me." Although his sister did not clearly understand whom her brother was addressing, she too called out, "Don't mind the foolish boy." The boy man's order seemed to be best attended to, for immediately a monstrous fish came and swallowed him. Before disappearing entirely, catching a glimpse of his sister standing in despair on the shore, the boy man hallooed out to her, "Mezush ki zin ants." Yes, swallow me. He asked a giant fish to eat him. So he calls out, whatever that means, we do not know. She wondered what he meant. I'm assuming that this is in their language, but I don't know. At last it occurred to her that it must be an old moccasin. What? She accordingly ran to the lodge, and bringing one, she tied it to a string attached to a tree, and cast it into the water. The great fish said to the boy man under water, "What is that floating?" To which the boy man replied, "Go take hold of it. Swallow it as fast as you can. It is a great delicacy." Oh, so they're using moccasin as a bait for a little joke. Okay. Ooh, sorry, I'm just seeing this. Riley, Alec, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Whenever we have someone new join us, we drop some little dance emotes. Welcome, welcome. We're just finishing up this little story. Whoever this boy man is, he's having a time. He's showing off. He's being a little shit. It's fun. Okay, so go swallow the moccasin. It's a great delicacy, little trickster. The fish darted toward the old shoe and swallowed it, making of it a mere mouthful. The boy man laughed in himself, but said nothing till the fish was fairly caught, when he took hold of the line and began to pull himself in his fish carriage ashore, because now he's got a line. He told his sister tied it up. He's pulling on the line, and it's dragging the fish along with it, I guess. The whole thing. The sister, who was watching all this time, opened wide her eyes as the huge fish came up and up upon the shore, and she opened them still more when the fish seemed to speak, and she heard from within a voice saying, "Make haste and release me from this nasty place." It was her brother's voice, which she was accustomed to obey, and she made haste with her knife to open a door in the side of the fish, from which the boy man presently leaped forth. Just made a little door. Okay. He lost no time in ordering her to cut it up and dry it, telling her that their spring supply of meat was now provided. I mean, true. It's a big enough fish to fully eat him, yeah. The sister now began to believe that her brother was an extraordinary boy, yet she was not altogether satisfied in her mind that he was greater than the rest of the world. They sat one evening in the lodge, musing with each other in the dark, by the light of each other's eyes, for they had no other of any kind, when the sister said, "My brother, it is strange that you, who can do so much, are no wiser than the Koko, who gets all his light from the moon, which shines or not, as it pleases." "And is not that light enough?" asked the little spirit. "Quite enough," the sister replied, "if it would but come within the lodge, and not sojourn out in the tree-tops among the clouds." "We will have a light of our own, sister," said the boy man, and casting himself upon a mat by the door, he commenced singing, "Firefly, firefly, bright little thing, light me to bed, and my song I will sing. Give me your light as you fly o'er my head, that I may merrily go to my bed. Give me your light o'er the grass as you creep, that I may joyfully go to my sleep. Come, little firefly, come, little beast, come, and I'll make you tomorrow a feast. Come, little candle that flies as I sing, bright little fairy bug, night's little king. Come, and I'll dream as you guide me along. Come, and I'll pray you my bug with a song." That is a beautiful little firefly song. I love it. Okay. As the boy man chanted this call, they came in at first one by one, then in couples, till at last swarming in little armies. The fireflies lit up the little lodge with 1,000 sparkling lamps, just as the stars were lighting the mighty hollow of the sky without. The faces of the sister and brother shone upon each other from their opposite sides of the lodge with a kindly gleam of mutual trustfulness, and never more from that hour did a doubt of each other darken their little household. The end. That was so sweet. And we read it really quick. But that was so sweet. Oh my goodness. I love it. It's a little firefly song. You're so great. I gotta star that story. That's definite. You get a star. Firefly song. Okay. Because I keep track of what I read and if the stories were real good or not. Okay, I'm gonna mute and cough, and then we can do some redeems before we do our reading out, I guess. So here we go. Hello, everything W. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Let's drop a little dancey moment. Nice. We got Sticks Russell. That's our first up. Okay. There we go. Where are my whispers? I did them a while ago, Lahal. You didn't hear them? Oh no, you missed your whispers. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. No, don't leave me. Drop your dances, Adon. Come on. But, what is happening? Oh, that's interesting. I got in my little activity that somebody followed, but it's not in the chat. That's so interesting. Okay, anyway. Okay, my brain. I will have to leave. I always have to end at some point. Cannot last forever. You will survive, though. Dance and sad, dance and sad. Oh, or nod and sad, but oh. Oh. You mean the band. Guess what? I said no. I said no. You cannot give me this slander. I'm gonna play. You're gonna keep me insulting me. I'm gonna tell you no. I'm gonna say no. Oh, you point and laugh at me? You point and laugh at me? Oh, that shit. Okay, I'm gonna do sticks rustle. Let's grab the sticks. Oh, sorry, sorry. So here we go with sticks rustle. Right. Now with our sticks rustle. So there you go. And oh, Raven Stinky. You said smelly, not stinky. They're very similar but different. I think we will prep to leave if nobody has any other real redeems besides just the stinky words. If nobody has any other redeems, then yeah, we'll prep to raid out. And yeah, I cannot promise stream tonight. I will update on Discord if anything changes, but unfortunately, no confirmation. Things are chaos for right now. You got a raid scouted for us. Alright, Fet, where are we headed? Tell us now. Kitty be silly. Oh, that's perfect. We'll be doing kitties. We've been dealing with a silly kitty. So this is perfect. Okay. Copy your raid messages, everybody. Alright, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Thanks to the new followers. I hope to see you again soon. But Kitty B. There you go. There's Kitty B silly. I can't confirm when I'll be streaming again. Besides Sunday when I'm back at Emerald Lake. But yeah. Here we go. We're gonna raid out. I hope to see you guys soon. Have a great rest of the day. Good eats if you're going to bed. Take care of yourselves. Happy time zone, whatever time zone. Okay, here we go.